Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Welcome again on this blessed Sunday where we go live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'm in Connecticut, with the exception of last Sunday. So, for those who are looking for me, I posted a video instead of going live because I was away. So, thank you for joining me today, and we'll get started. So, hello, welcome for you who are new. I am Natalie. I am a licensed clinical social worker with a history or a professional background working with families, working with children, working with teens, with the primary focus of trauma. And this is how we have started to come to Raising Teens with Natalie. It started off as a group that I would run a parenting group at the clinic where I was working at. And it was a successful group. So then I had the idea to bring it to the larger audience, which is you. So this is for the parent who has teens in their homes, teens with a capital T, as in tenacious teens, that are in your home because they are colorful in terms of how they present in your home. So that might mean stubborn, that might mean angry, that might mean always with an attitude, being rebellious, not wanting to talk to you, maybe even isolating. So those are some of the things that a tenacious teen looks like. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about boundaries, self-management, coping skills, what it looks like inside of your home, how to restructure things. And you're probably wondering why I'm harping on this so much, right? For the title of this live is Bump Them Teens, You First. So sometimes because of what's going on in your homes, that it's right now you're probably engaging in a power struggle. There's a power struggle between you and your teen. You want it your way, they want it their way for a variety of reasons. And the power struggle is not working for you right now. The power struggle is stressing you out. The power struggle is making you rethink why you were a parent in the first place. It's even making you maybe even think, you know what? I'm going to hurt this little girl or boy, depending on who the teen is in your home, because of what they might do. And you're causing a lot of emotional reactions for you as a parent. And that's just what happens when we are in a power struggle. That also happens when things become unmanageable. So the goal of you coming here and partnering with me is so that it doesn't continue to be that way. All because that's the way your home looks like right now doesn't mean it has to stay that way. And part of the self-management, part of the coping skills, part of the boundaries that you need to implement in your home is so that it's not always a struggle. Right now, it probably feels like you versus your teen, when it's you and your teen versus a problem, whatever that might be. Your teen is not the problem, even if it feels like they are. But we'll just say for the purpose of today that our feelings aren't always our best character. Sometimes our feelings will tell us things that aren't really true, like, for example, anxiety. Anxiety will make you worry about things that haven't even happened yet, but you think it's going to happen. So now you're always in a tizzy about what you think is going to happen, even though it hasn't, and you have no proof that it would. Anxiety can be a liar. Depression is another emotion that can be a liar in terms of you thinking about all the bad things that happen and it brings you down and it brings you sad. And what happens with our brain because of some of the things that we've seen is that it likes to color code things. Think of one big filing cabinet of our memories, and based off of what our history is, based off of our family structure, based off of what we've experienced in our life, our brain will color code things. And depression will color code things in a way where you only see the bad and you never see any of the good. So those are two examples where our emotions aren't really always our best friends. Our emotions are, we'll say, tools, indicators for where we might need to look or direct our attention to, but our emotions can't always be the feeding source in terms of information. Now, because of that reason, you are in this power struggle with your teen, and it's feeling like a lot. It's feeling very probably hot, just because of the things that they might be doing in your home that you don't agree with. Probably thinking even to yourself, like, when I was a teen, I did not do this. But I might beg to differ on that one because when I was a teen, I did a lot. Now, I won't say that it was to the severity or the gravity of some of the teens that we are seeing today, but I did a lot. And I gave my parents a run for their money. So if we're really being honest, you probably did too in your own version of things because that's just what teen years looks like. And they're in a time where their minds are changing, their hormones are going, and you feel like you are stuck in the middle of it all. So I say bump them teens you first because the change starts with you. You are the adult in the home. You are the one that people are watching when it comes to your teen or the other kids you might have in your home. For those who are parents of multiples, right? They are looking at you, and when it comes to these teen years, it's you're modeling. They are looking at what you're doing versus what you're saying. So if we're saying one thing but we're doing another, your teen clock the difference. And if your teen clock the difference, they're not going to listen to you. So in terms of restructuring or trying to implement boundaries, is so that you can feel like you have your mind still. Because right now, I probably feel like you lost your mind a little bit with the struggle and the arguments and all the things that are going on in your home. And you're probably wondering, how do I know some of these things are happening? Is like I said, I worked with children and families, with teens with a primary focus of trauma, and oftentimes it was complicated trauma. And I've seen kids and parents physically fight or hear the stories about them. I never actually seen it with my own eyes, but I heard them physically fighting. I've counseled many teens and families because they've had such a contentious relationship in the home, and I've heard it all in terms of stories from the teen themselves, but also from you, the parent. Um, and you might be a parent of your teen, you might be a grandparent or another caregiver, maybe a foster parent, an aunt or uncle, someone who's assuming care for the teen that's in your home, which is why this is for you. But back to what I was saying about just all the things that are going on in your home and that you might feel like you are losing your mind. So help is here, and here it is. Thinking also, because when there is a power struggle, obviously that would point, well, I won't say obviously because it's probably not obvious to you, but me, because I'm a clinician at by trade, when there is a power struggle, that means there's poor communication. That means that two people are have different ideas about what it is, what the problem actually is, and also what they want. And because you are the parent, the responsibility belongs to you in terms of restructurizing and resetting what the limits are, resetting what you want to look in your home. And when you don't regulate yourself well, you're not going to be able to parent well, which is why I say bump them teens, you first. You first, you the parent first, because it's important that you are regulated. It's important that you have your mind right, your emotions right, your well being right before you can parent your teen. One thing I used to always say to the group that I would always meet with, I would say that you are a parent before, actually, scratch that. You are yourself before you are a parent. Because, yes, you are a parent, but a parent is not all that you are. A parent is not all that you are. And I understand that sometimes as a parent, you feel like you're going to give your life for your child, you will do so much for them. And even I would say, even that statement might be on the tote of unhealthy, because yes, you are a parent, but that's not all that you are. And when we put our full identity in our parenthood, you're going to open yourself up for disappointment, because your teen is going to do what teens do. That means be rebellious. That means be stubborn. That means be moody. That means not even listening to what you have to say most of the time. That means disrespecting your rules, because that's just what teens do. It is during this time and this developmental process for them and their brains that they are learning who they are in this world. They are learning who they are in their environment with you as well as with their friends. And because of that, because of their brain literally is doing like a flipping, a turning, a reprocessing, a lot of things get lost in translation. And because you, as a parent who's been on this earth for however long you've been here, but you're clearly older than them, which means you have more wisdom, which means you have more time to figure it out, which means that you should know what you're doing. But who says that? Because parenthood, no one knows what they're doing. So let's be honest about that. In parenthood, no one knows what they're doing. But either way, that's just how it is when it comes to raising teens. And for you as a parent, it is important that you resettle yourself. So on Sunday, I had posted a post on boundaries and what a boundary is. Later in the week, I also posted a video and gave like a still example as to what a healthy boundary might be for you to implement. Um, and some of those things that maybe will hopefully be a guide for you. And if you didn't get a chance to see that post, then I would suggest you go back to my Instagram, go back to my YouTube, even TikTok, because I put it all all three channels, and you can scroll through and find that post so you can catch up to speed. But boundaries are I would agree would be the best coping skill, the best self management skill that you can ever use, because it helps redetermine your limits, and also boundaries help you teach others how you want to be treated, but also it teaches yourself how you should be treated. And even some of the boundary examples that I gave last week were more about setting boundaries with yourself, not even with other people yet. We can't even get there yet, but setting boundaries for yourself. So, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your home to look like? Were there promises that you made to yourself that you haven't been keeping? And if you haven't been keeping your promises to yourself, if you haven't been keeping these things that you're saying to yourself, but you expect your team to do so, then that's a little out of order. Right? I said earlier that when it comes to parenting your teens of today, they're looking at what you're saying and doing. And if your words sound good, but your behavior doesn't look so good, they're paying attention to the behavior versus the words. They will do as you do, not as you say. So that might be, hopefully, that is helpful to you to understand that piece in terms of as you're looking through your week. If you didn't get a chance to implement a boundary last week, I would suggest you think of one small thing to do this week. So for me, I would say last week, for me, was meal prepping. I had meal prep for the week, and I kept to my meal prep, and I even did it early this week, because what they say about habits is that it takes 15 days to build a habit of consistently doing so. So hopefully that's something for you guys to do as well, in terms of just finding something small. Maybe it's a bedtime, maybe it's sticking to my budget, maybe it's limiting my social media scrolling. Maybe it's I'm going to read before I watch TV. Maybe it's, you know what, I'm only going to spend this much time in this area. But boundaries are so helpful. And I can understand as you as a parent that maybe for some of you, boundaries aren't always easy to implement because you've broken a lot of promises with yourself. Which brings me back to what I said as a model here is you first, you the parent first. Because sometimes because of the relationship with our teen is could be contentious. It could be very emotional and argumentative. But I'd also question you to look at if that's what your relationship with your teen looks like. What does your relationship with yourself look like? Is it as contentious? Are you breaking promises to yourself? Are you talking down to yourself? Are you being upset with yourself? Are you holding yourself to a standard that no one set? So I would urge you even this week as you're thinking about your teen, as you're looking in the state of your home, is your relationship with others in your home a reflection of your relationship with yourself? Now that wasn't even a planned question, but I'm thinking about that right now in terms of my relationship with others. Is that a representation of my relationship with myself? And if the answer is yes, then you're going to need some of those boundaries to renegotiate things, to resettle things, to restructure things. If the answer is yes. If the answer is no, you probably still need some boundaries to restructure and resettle things, because boundaries are just useful for everyone. Doesn't matter what the age is, doesn't matter where you are, but also you setting boundaries and limits with yourself and keeping them will model good behavior for your teen who's clocking you. They are built to see discrepancies. So when you think they don't see it, they see it. They see it. When you say I'm going to set a goal, but you never meet the goal that you said you're going to set, they see that. And that can either give them teens will respond one of two ways. They can see you do that and either repeat the same behavior, or see you do that and decide to do exactly the opposite. And every teen is different. And so are you. Every parent is different. So even thinking about that. So for you, in terms of boundaries, that's something to consider. Before they were a teen, for some of you parents, it might have been easier. I'm not gonna say for all of you parents, because I've worked with children as young as 3, as old as up until their 19th birthday. That's when they had to get switched out of the program that I was in. So I've seen a variety in terms of how a relationship with a parent can be, from the children to the parent. So for some of you, maybe before they became a teen, they were on the easier end. They did what you said, they listened. You might have had some issues, but it wasn't too much. And when they became a teen, it was a whole different story. I know I was definitely like that when I was a teen. Before I was a teen, I was on the good side. When I became a teen, I became very stubborn and rebellious. Um, I'm going to say partially due to hormones, but partially also because um, my family, I would say my parents, birthed me to be unrelenting, if that makes sense. Unrelenting. I am of Haitian descent for those who might be inquiring. But yeah, unrelenting is the word I would use in terms of in my teen years. It came off aggressive. I was going for assertive, but it came off as aggressive. I was definitely aggressive as a teenager, well into my college years and afterwards, to be quite honest. But that's no longer my story. I'm just like thinking about that for real, like that's no longer my story. But thinking for some of your teens, right, and thinking about the relationship you have with them and the relationship you have with yourself. If you were their age, what would you tell them? If you were their age, what would you want the adult version of you to say to the teen version of you so that they might do things differently? So right now, like I said earlier, it's a power struggle, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And part of it changing starts with you as the parent. You have to be willing to implement some things. You're gonna have to be willing to change some things about you yourself first, not about your teen, but about you yourself first. And once you start seeing the fruit of your change, it will impact your relationship with your teen in a way that you probably wouldn't expect. So hopefully that is helpful to you. Anything that I said today, and I feel like I went on a couple of tangents, but that's okay. That's why at the point of going live, so you guys get the first off version of me, if that makes sense. But yeah, boundaries. Boundaries is the name of the game for this week and moving forward for the rest of our lives, to be quite honest. Um, but treat yourself better this week. Implement a boundary that you need. That's going to help you get through the week better. That's going to help you be better to yourself, which will eventually relate to your teen and affect your relationship with your teen. But you first and foremost. I know probably that goes maybe against what some of you parents might believe in terms of, well, it's the kids first, or it's my spouse first, or it's this person first. And the world does like to paint a picture that putting yourself first is selfish. But also, if you don't care about you, who's going to? The world takes a lot from you, especially as parents. You have your children taking something from you, your friends, your job. There's a lot of responsibilities on your plate, and sometimes because of the amount of responsibilities on the plate, we forget about ourselves. You forget about you because of the level of responsibility that you have on your plate. So I'm here to remind you to put yourself first this week. It's okay. It's not being selfish just because you chose to put yourself first. You can say no to certain things. You can decide to do something better for yourself. You can choose to speak to yourself more kindly. Um, because putting yourself first right now, after not putting yourself first for so long, it's just going to help you re-identify yourself so that everything is not such a stressful point. It's going to help you stay regulated or move from dysregulation, would be all the emotionality and all the emotional responses to everything that happens, being easily triggered as a parent. That's what dysregulation looks like. Being easily triggered as a parent, putting in some boundaries, putting yourself first is going to help regulate you so that you don't feel like you're on the back burner, so that you don't feel like, oh, these people are so unappreciative of everything that I'm doing. But if you, when you reestablish a good relationship with yourself, it doesn't matter what people are doing. It doesn't matter if they appreciate it or not. Yes, it feels nice to be appreciated, but it won't matter so much once you reestablish a better relationship with yourself, because the weight of your team, the weight of the world, the weight of your job, the weight of all these things won't keep swaying you and knocking you down from side to side. So, like I said, the name of the game is boundaries. For you this week, just something small. Maybe it's a bedtime. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's stepping outside. Maybe it's going to implement some healthy habits. But find something this week. Find something this week. Um, and I will move on to questions for those who are with us, who are joining us live. If you have any questions, I would love to hear them. I'm trying to find where the chat box is so I can see y'all when you do say something. I will say that this is a new platform that I've been using for the past couple of weeks, and I'm still getting used to things. Okay, I think I found it. Still getting used to things. So if anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll give you a moment to put something in the chat box. And if not, then we're going to move towards the end, and I will see you guys the next time. But just thinking about some of the questions I asked you guys today, because I guess I think about the question I asked you guys earlier. As I'm waiting for questions, I'm going to give it a few minutes. I'm still thinking about the question I asked about: is your relationship with others a relationship? Does it represent the relationship you have with yourself? Is there any similarities in it? Is there any differences in it with those who have family in the home? When it comes to those who may not have anybody in the home, like because you were out maybe most of the day, maybe in terms of your relationship with your coworkers, your relationship with others outside of your home, are those relationships a reflection of your relationship with yourself, either in a good way or a bad way? And I would love to hear about it. So if you can drop me a comment, you can even send me an email by going to my website at raisingteenswithnatalie.com. You'll find my email address, which is natalie@raisingteenswithnatalie.com. You can send me an email. You can drop a comment below. You can drop a post on this video because I will be posting it to YouTube and Instagram. And then I would look forward to hearing your responses. But if anyone doesn't have anything, then I guess we will just move over to the end. So we are live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow me on all platforms, Raising Teens with Natalie. I was going to say my email. I was going to say my website again, at Raising Teens with Natalie. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And we are live every Sunday at 5 p.m. So I'll see you guys all the next time. Have a blessed day.